Lads, what's up? Welcome back to a well overdue update. We've got himself in-house, who's actually taken a look at me in person a couple of times today now as well. Cian's over for the next while. We've got a lot of stuff going on with Team CBC, and he's going to be staying with me for quite a bit of time as well, which I think is going to be class. And it's just another thing to spring me forward, I suppose, in this prep over the next while. And obviously you've been seeing, the updates on the daily, and what changes Cian's been making, his thought process behind everything, my thought process behind everything. But I thought, while I have him here, I think you could take probably a lot maybe for your own preps, or if a prep is something that you're looking to do potentially in the future, you could take it away, looking at, things that have gone on during my prep that I mightn't have expected, just the way the whole prep has gone, from always hearing it through my eyes, always tuned to hear my voice, but I suppose from Cian's end of things as well, that little bit more, I'd probably have a couple of questions. You know how we do. We're chill with it, and I just want to get his idea of the whole prep so far, where we're currently at in terms of, the game plan going forward, so we can, have something to look forward to, have something to be excited for over the next couple of weeks, and
yes, sir.
Just your kind of idea on everything where we're at currently. 7 weeks out from show number 1, but we've got that first little stop along the way, which we're kind of just aiming for right now, that Team CBC group photo shoot, lad, which all the lads are coming in for, and the excitement is building, all these small little things. We've got our team day coming up on Sunday, the first team day of the year, which is something that we're starting to work on now. What's going to be the next event, how can we make this bigger as well. Everything is just momentum there at the moment. As you can see with the videos, it's just taking the momentum that we have and just going with it, because it's doubling down that we're doing, and it's going well, I want to say.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you said to me, the last number of months outside of the prep as a whole, working with Team CBC and everything has been absolutely fantastic, and it's just continued to grow and grow through something that I probably myself didn't expect to see grow through as much as it has so far, working alongside Cian. And it's been one of the best things, the best positions I've been able to land myself in, I suppose, to where I am now. And I just want to run with that. And that's also, in my opinion, why the prep has just gone by, and I'm like, we're 7 weeks out.
Yeah, it's gone quick.
It's very quick. And obviously Cian's been away in Thailand, obviously something that I want to do myself and Danielle want to do again in the near future. So I'm able to let him tell me all about that right now. He's been in Dubai a good bit. I haven't seen you since December, which is quite a bit of time. I had a lot more fat on me at that point. So I just want to get Cian's, thoughts and kind of how the prep has been, not looking into it too deep, because they all know everything anyway, but how it's been, your thoughts behind it, what the game plan is over the next couple of weeks. Obviously the little hurdles that we've had in recent weeks, just little things like that for people to take away themselves, and stuff to look out for maybe as well.
Yeah, cool. So I suppose we'll start at the start.
Oh God.
We don't start at the start?
You just start wherever, I suppose. When did the prep even start? Because we had that
January,
kind of
January timeline.
You don't need the timeline. Basically what happened was I started fat loss on the 6th of January. Wow. The 6th of January, obviously we had a couple of weeks there. Myself and Danielle then went to Paris for the engagement. Still came back a couple of kilo lighter from that.
Yeah.
And then kind of I looked at the prep starting officially on the 3rd of February.
Yeah.
And then a couple of weeks after that, on the 1st of March, we did have the engagement party, which was, to be fair, like you could say off plan. Like I was having a few voddies, lad, but I worked around that with like lowering food and everything like that. Not something that I wanted to do, but something that I was willing to do, to not be so selfish, because the next number of weeks on from that and the next number of weeks on from here now are going to be a selfish time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where we've been at, where we started.
Yeah, so Massy obviously told me about going over to Paris, what was going to be included in that, getaway, and obviously it was a massive moment in his own life that he should cherish forever. So started prep a little bit earlier just to accommodate for that, which is something that I've done with a lot of clients. And having like a bit of a pre-prep diet is always nice as well, where it's not as full on. It's just a little bit easier. Shift a couple of kilos, know that you have a little bit of a break coming up, and then get back into the proper side of prep when he was back. So from there, I can't even believe we started in January. Just fucking time flies.
Is that when you went to Dubai?
Yeah, I went January 10th, which I think was a Thursday, so you probably started Monday. But Yeah, first couple of weeks were smooth sailing, very, very smooth sailing. We, didn't really have too much like expectations or like too much of a know where we're going to land. With someone like Massy, it's quite hard to like forecast what like predicted body weight will be just from someone who hasn't done like a prep before, and obviously with assistants and XYZ, they all play a role in it too. So the first couple of weeks were more so just about getting in, getting things moving, shifting those first couple of kilos. And to be honest, it went very, very smooth all the way up there till April time. Then obviously we hit a bit of a wall, which I'm sure you're all aware of.
Like it just kind of goes by.
Yeah.
Like just ticking the boxes on the daily, like you don't even see it happening in front of you.
It just flies by. Like I did my prep back in 2023, and like 24 weeks, but it was just gone like that. Like you don't realise it. Next thing you know, you get to 12 weeks out, and 12 weeks you get to 10, then you're in single digits. And the period that you're in now, like that kind of 8 to like, even like I suppose 2 week out mark, it's kind of like a bit like unknown. It's like it's about to happen, but we're not really there yet.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in between, you know what I mean? So this is probably like the rocky part for a lot of people. But yeah, for Massy going back from the start, everything was bang on, smooth sailing. There wasn't really too many crazy adjustments. We didn't spend too much of a time in a surplus, only a couple, maybe 4 months.
Yeah, I've never had an off season, man.
4 months we spent maybe in a surplus, which look wasn't ideal, but it's the scenario that we're in, and we ran with it anyways. And made the most out of it. So we had a bit of an opportunity to build up food a little bit, obviously pull out output, have us in a good position to start the prep. Then over time, we brought up output, pulled down food, and that was pretty much all we did for the first 12 weeks or so, you could say. Then April came around, and that's where obviously there's been a lot of changes to Massy, and that's where you just need to be able to look at someone and be able to make that decision in terms of, right, is more better or is less more? And that was, I suppose, that only kind of roadblock we had so far, where I think we finished March on 82.3 kg. We weighed in the first week of April 81.1.
He's good with the body weights.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me, but any clients watching this, I know what body weight you were, or whatever number a week it was. I get invested. So we ended March 82.3. We moved into 81.1 in first week of April. Then we went to 81, so there wasn't a big change, but then you told me GH was added back in, which would be water retention. So I was like, okay, a bit of water retention coming back into the system. That's cool. We made a little adjustment to food, I believe, that week. Then came into a Monday check-in, still no changes. I made an adjustment to food. Then Thursday, made an adjustment to cardio. Got to the following Monday, and this is about 3 weeks down the line now, where we're still holding that weight. And then I said, all right, we just need to, look at what's really causing this, because I thought initially it was a GH, and I thought, right, you just need to do a little bit more output, a little bit less food. When that doesn't work, that's when you need to have the understanding of, okay, more cardio isn't always the answer, or less food isn't always the answer. And for Massy, it was just a case of inflammation, fatigue. Something we didn't do, which we should have done, was actually take a proper deload, because those 3 days or a couple of days over in Paris, which were supposed to be like a rest, your steps were like 20 something kg, you know what I mean? Like your output was crazy high, so the legs never really got that break. Then coming back in, moving up output, we moved up to 60 minutes per day, and we were just at a bit of a sticking point, where you probably wanted to do more, you probably wanted to eat less.
It was definitely a hard couple of weeks, but we're fucking hell so needed, man.
Yeah.
Of just letting Cian make the decisions, because as I say to you on your daily, you can get so caught up in I want to and I need to, and you get so stuck on I need to be doing more, I need to be eating less, I need to be doing more. But lo and behold,
less is more. I think we jumped from 79.5 to 82.9 or something like crazy in the space of 2 days.
And you definitely thought binge mode was on or something.
No, I know Massy. Anyone else would have thought binge mode was on, but I was like, no, there's something else going on here. That's not normal. When you're seeing those big jumps in body weight, those big fluctuations in body weight, there's something. Could you see me scratching my balls there for a second?
That's staying in there. I'm not cutting that out.
Even I don't give a fuck. When you see those big jumps in body weight and those big fluctuations in body weight, it's got to do with fatigue, inflammation. And, me and Massy, yes, we've done a dieting phase before, which was very, very good, but we've never really been in a prep, we've never really been pushing the boat for a long period of time. So that's where I just took a little bit of time to understand what was going on. Okay, this is inflammation, it's fatigue, let's go with a lot more food, let's take off a good bit of cardio, pulled the cardio out completely, didn't we, for 2 days?
Couple of days.
I think 2 days no cardio, then we went back in with 30 minutes. So now his output is halved, 30 minutes daily. He woke up this morning, new low body weight. So things are definitely back moving the way we want them to be. And from here on in, we're looking at about seven weeks and 2 days to the first show.
Weight-wise?
Weight-wise, 78.5 this morning.
And where in your head, like, gauge and fat-wise? As I said to the lads recently, you know, it's just a case of until I'm 2 kilos away, you're not going to know until I'm there.
It's a tough one because your lowest weight of prep might not necessarily be the weight you are on stage. You know, like people think that I diet down until I get to that stage. You don't. You know, you diet down to a position where you look great, and then you actually want to kind of fill that up a little bit. That body weight moves up. You know, for me, I think my lowest prep was actually in the 70s. I think I was down to 79 or something like that. I think I was on stage 81.
Fell back up.
So, you know, it depends. If you're looking at kind of where you think you want to be on stage, I'd probably like to be in like the lower end of the 70s.
Yeah.
Like we're 78.5. Like even today, like visuals are very good. Like I don't know what your thought of them was post workout, but I was quite happy with those visuals.
Yeah, in my head, you know, you're always going to be your worst critic, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, there's still like a lot of work ahead.
But see, the thing is,
but it does create that urgency a bit for me.
I think the benefit of me not seeing you for so long is that you see yourself every single day in the mirror.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you're used to this.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you with a pump in fucking 5 months. And I was just
without a single vein or nothing.
So
no detail.
I was looking at you there this morning, I was like, this morning's look fasted and post-workout, drastically different. But in terms of kind of where I'd say we need to land, I just think the lower end of the 70s. You know, like even there, like there's more lines in the glutes again this morning.
But we're at that kind of stage now where things, as long as everything is in order, like it has been there, things will move quicker.
Yeah, and like this is just like what I've been going back and forth with Massy over a lot. It's the finer details.
Yeah.
Like it's like Massy saying I'm having 100 grams of veg. I'm like, okay, but what is the veg source? Do you know, like what's going on there? Is it something like onions that you shouldn't really be having in a prep? You know, like because there's things that you just don't understand about, you know, digestive systems and everything.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there was sleep that we'd have to take a big look into. Just our general food sources as a whole, putting down those whey meals, going for more, you know, more protein sources like chicken, rice, veg, you know, those type of meals instead of like the cream of rices or anything that could cause any issues with digestion. So we had to take a big look into like the nitty gritty stuff, but you know, that's sound that happens, you know, and now we have that resolved, so it should be relatively smooth sailing from here on in. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy by any fucking means.
No, but that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, that's what you're here for. But I mean, in terms of like, there shouldn't be any more bumps in the road or any hiccups. Like we kind of crossed that path with fatigue, inflammation, digestion, sleep, like all those ones. Stress is the other one. Like if you have the 5 of those on fucking point, you're in for a good prep.
Yeah.
You know, and the sleep was another one. Like Massy was getting up at 4 a.m. and I was like, getting up at 4 a.m. is all well and good if you're asleep by 8. But if you're not living that lifestyle, if you're not getting those 8 hours sleep, you're only handicapping yourself by getting up at 4. Do you know what I mean? Now you're getting those extra couple hours of sleep, you're waking up, you're hitting new low ends, you know, stress as a whole is coming down because you're seeing the body weight come down. It's all these things, you know, accumulated and coming together. And
yeah, it's taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture. Like, what kind of position would I have myself in now? You know, like probably no food because of like the level of inflammation that would be there, the level of fatigue that would probably be there. No food, like cardio would be at a crazy amount probably, and I wouldn't be getting the response that I should be getting from doing that level, and I'd just be shooting myself in the foot. But just leaving that where it is, you know, and just letting Cian just tell me what to do, and me just being the person that just goes and does and ticks those boxes on a daily basis is invaluable. You know what I mean? And I know, and as Cian said today, you know, we're going to press on from here, which is music to my ears, lad. You know, I'm well able, you know, I'm going on low food, as he knows. You know, I'm just trying to get that across to him, obviously, but he knows that from what I've done. Not that I want zero carb, because like I'm thinking, you know, training performance and everything here, you know, and all those small little things now, you know, it's all and well. I could do a lot more cardio and everything, but I think it's just being able to just sit back for a second, which takes more stress off my back, even though I might overthink a lot of things, is just being like, right, he's telling me what to do here. As I was saying before, we were interrupted, lads. We've swapped cameras now as well. It might look small, a little bit different, but come Monday, you know, there probably will be a drop in food potentially. There might be more cardio added in, but it gives me peace of mind now, you know, that things are moving forward again after that little hurdle. And I think it's great for you to take a look. You know, every person and everyone's prep is going to be completely different. You know, no one's prep is going to be the exact same. No prep that I ever do will probably ever be the exact same again, you know, as we develop and we move on further. And I think it's taken me to understand as well at the same time, you know I said it to you in a recent video, like looking at other people and thinking, you know, I want to get as lean as him, you know, and compare level of leanness, which is a bad thing to do. you know, I can only get as lean as I'm going to be able to get, and as me and Cian are going to be able to do, you know, from my physique, you know, and that's something to understand as well. But it's my first prep. There's been plenty of learnings. As I said, the prep has just kind of fucking flown by without even looking at it, from just everything else going on in life, which has been absolutely fantastic. But what were you saying in terms of body weight there as well?
I was going to go back into April, but we can leave that out if you want. I was going to just
no, if it's something that people can get something from, absolutely.
So just going back into April as well, and those kind of 4 weeks, should I say, where body weight was kind of sticking, we were holding, we were taking that refeed. Although body weight on average was very similar over, say, the first, second and third week of April, the look was still changing. It was still changing. The delts were getting a little bit more striated, the glutes were coming in a little bit more. And sometimes he'd check in, and I go back to a check-in from the start of the month, and he could be 2 kilos heavier, but he still looked a little bit leaner. And that's where you just need to understand, like, I suppose from a coaching perspective as well, that, like, it's not all about body weight, you know, and sometimes people will hold body weight and the look will change. But in Massy's scenario, we knew that body weight did have to come down as well, if you get what I'm saying.
Does that mean I've been growing throughout the entire prep?
Well, you would be growing, yeah. Yeah, you would 100% be growing, because, like, what happens in a prep, people think, right, I start prep, I stop building muscle.
Yeah.
That's not what happens, right? Let's say a prep is 20 weeks or 24 weeks, whatever it is. For the first 12 weeks, you're actually more efficient.
Yeah.
You're more routine, you're more locked in, you're probably on more gear, you drop that initial bit of body fat, you actually build more muscle. Like, that's what happens in the first 12 weeks of prep. Then you get into the point where, okay, it's starting to kick your ass a little bit, fatigue is high, now you're kind of just managing what you have.
Yeah.
Now, obviously we're talking about, you know, assisted. Natural prep, a little bit different. But
yeah.
Going back to that point with the 81 to 81.3, that's why, again, it's so important to look at visuals and not just be looking at the number and the emotion of what the number is telling you and, you know, hoping that this number comes down. You need to be able to look at things week to week and actually, like, be able to see what's happening. And then the last check-in before I called it with the information, the legs were just blown. The legs were blown, but in some poses he was looking leaner. And I was like, right, inflammation is through the roof here in the lower half, let's pull it back. And again, that's where you shouldn't be afraid to take a step sideways in terms of, okay, putting up food and taking down cardio, because we actually dropped weight as a result of it. You know, you need to be able to manage these things, but also only do them when they're needed, not when they're wanted. You know, and that's another big thing, is if you don't have the time frame to do it, which I said to Massy, if we don't do this now, we're going to be fucking cutting it very, very tight. We need to take this now, tuck it now, and it push us forward there 2 steps. Do you know what I mean? So 1 step sideways to go 2 steps forwards is much better than trying to just drive yourself forward when it's just not going to work, because your body's just fighting against you.
And game plan next number of weeks, like leading into the shows and everything?
Very similar to what we're doing now, to be honest. You know, I always say, like, a prep is kind of like a plane journey, you know, where you have the takeoff, the middle bit, and then the landing. And takeoff was kind of that takeoff before, say, Paris.
Yeah.
When the Paris come back, now you're in that middle bit, and you're going to be in that middle bit until about 2 weeks out. Do you know what I mean? So you're still kind of in that middle bit. You're about, you know, an hour away from landing pretty much.
The uphill battle, I suppose, just gets like if you're looking at it as a plane, I suppose that wind just gets harder coming against you.
But then you get to that point where it's time to land the plane. That's where, okay, we can rest up a little bit and chill out. But it just depends on, you know, the look that we're chasing. It depends on what we're doing. It depends on where we are. It depends on what shows we're doing next. I am looking forward to the photo shoot, just to see under lighting. It's in tan as well. With a bit of pump up, like just a little bit different, because that'll kind of give me a bit of a better idea as well. And that's another 15 days roughly away from here.
God, it's come around very quick.
So, you know, that's another thing that will, you know, add to it all. And then after the back of the photo shoot, you're what, 5 weeks out?
5 weeks out.
Yeah, 5 weeks out. So then it'll probably be looking like, it depends again on where we are. You know, if we need to dig hard into that first show, then cool, we'll do that, get judges' feedback, and then we can keep digging, we can, you know, maintain, we can do whatever we need to do off the back of it pretty much. Depending on where we are, what category we're going to be doing, again, you know, there's a lot to take in consideration. But I think leading into the prep, you know, this is, I suppose, the difficult bit, and it does get that a little more difficult. It probably gets that a little bit difficult all the way up to about like that 1 week out mark.
Oh, I hope so, man.
And like mentally, do you know what I mean? It's just the time. It's just another week.
But that's the thing, like it's just compounding, just perfect days after days into weeks that brings through the look.
Yeah, 100%. So, today I was very happy with the photos post-workout. Very, very happy. Like,
yeah, because I was skeptical, you know,
I came away
because
like,
you haven't seen me in so long.
I came away buzzing like off those post-workout photos. I was very happy with the post-workout. I'm sure they'll really see them somewhere.
Of course you will.
I'm sure he'd have them plastered over, so don't worry.
Or not, I'll be like, fuck that.
No, they're good. They're quite good. They're quite good. And even from like a size perspective, like, you know, you're big, like you are, like upper half waist, you're fucking big.
Yeah, we know, like, as I said, like, we know the legs are something that we need to put a big priority on, but have I ever prioritised them before?
No, never.
No. You know, that is going to be something crack.
And
like.
you know what the good thing is about coaching you is, like, you're honest with yourself. Like, you're not turning around to me and saying, why hasn't my legs grown on prep? Like, because you didn't do it for the last 2 years in an off.
I actually sent Cian, as the emotions, you know, come through in prep, you know, as they go along. I sent Cian a voice note last week. I was like, you know, this whole last year, you know, because we had that like 1 year anniversary working together. So it's been around like a year and just about a year and a month, I would say, like, has been just some process, man. Like, do you know what I mean? And I did not expect the accountability. I know I've said this loads of times. I did not expect the accountability to be where it's at.
Yeah.
Having had the relationship that we've built over the last couple of years, which is absolutely class. And I said to him, I cannot wait to finish out this prep, you know, over these next couple of weeks, that things might get that bit harder. He might have to listen to me whinge that little bit more, which is his job at the end of the day, and he's just going to have to deal with it. Going into that reverse period, you know, these are all things, as I keep saying to you, that we're going to be able to look forward to. I'm going to be able to take you through, and then into, you know, however long of a gaining phase, which is going to be super, super exciting. But that kind of leaves us there. We've a lot to look forward to over the next couple of weeks. You know,
yeah, a lot to look forward to, but a lot
on the business
to be excited about right now too.
A lot to be excited about. That's what I'm saying. You know, excited about just on the week to week. You know, that's a big part of it. You make, I think, the day to day as easy or as hard as you want.
The thing is, like, look, I know this is completely off topic, but there's people that work labourers jobs, scaffolding, that do bodybuilding preps, and they don't moan once. Do you know what I mean? Like, prep is what you make of it.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. And there's people then that will do a 10-week diet for a photo shoot, not get that lean and be whinging. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just...
Who have nothing to do but to do what they need to do
on a daily basis, you know? And it's just funny. It is what your perception of it is, do you know what I mean? And what you make of it, do you know? And if you wake up every day and say, it's going to be a fucking good day, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do everything that I need to do. All you need to do is you need to eat 5 times a day, you need to drink whatever bit of water you need to drink, you need to train, you need to do whatever bit of cardio, you need to sleep. Like, you know, there's worse things in life that you could be doing.
And look, it's not that deep at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I'm prepping for a bodybuilding show. I'm stepping on stage.
In a thong. Fake tan.
Which colour I've kind of decided on now. And we said this in one of the videos over the last few days, lads. I'm looking at getting a pair of board shorts for one of the shows or whatever. We're looking right now. I haven't really said too much of it. We're looking at about 3 shows for the season, which I think, again, we're just aiming for the first one right now because that's all you can do, you know, just see what happens. But I think that would be a really nice number to round out my first prep as a junior.
Yeah, as a junior, may as well use the card, you know, and just kind of get up there as many times as you can, because, you know, if you come away from a junior having competed 3 times, like you're 3 times further ahead than someone's competed once. Do you know, kind of way. That
last show would be like 4 days before my birthday, which would be a nice way to round it out. And then
my show was on my birthday.
It was, and I was there.
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
I was
in a different position than you're in now.
In a much different position than I'm in now, lads. We're going to leave it there. As always, drop the video a like, comment down below if there's anything you want to see between me and Cian. You know, go through. We're going to be filming a lot more videos that are going to help you out on your own journeys and things that, you know, we've learnt. You know, we've come from relatively similar backgrounds in terms of our own development, in terms of physique, everything that we've done. You know, Cian is a couple of years older than me. Cian has a good bit more experience now in the grand scheme of things with everything. He's got a lot more muscle to prick. Like, there was a point in time, like, me and Cian both did our first photo shoots, like, very similar time frame, and then all of a sudden it was just, Dave was just like... And then all of a sudden I met Cian like 2 years later in Manchester, and Cian is like, and I'm like, little bollocks. But it is what it is, you know, you take what it is you can, you know. I can whinge and moan about all that and all the muscle that I could have built over the last couple of years, but it's all ahead of us now, you know what I mean?
100%, all ahead of us.
Any final notes or?
Not much. Please like, subscribe, comment. Please go and follow my YouTube channel as well.
Me and
Massy once had a race to 1,000 subscribers.
And my subs have been loyal.
And I haven't even reached it yet.
You'll get there.
I think I'm on 995.
Guys, so if there's one thing that you can do, one thing that you can do for me today, and I don't ask much of them, to be fair, make sure you're subscribed on here, because, again, the majority of you that do click on and watch the videos are actually not subscribed, and if there's one thing, to give my man here a little bit of appreciation for the work he's putting in to get me to the stage, listening to me over the next couple of weeks, do head over, click the link in the description to his channel and check out what's going on over there, because he also this week now is going to be getting his perspective on everything that we're doing. And as I said, you can take a lot from his channel.
And there'll be a lot of him on my channel as well. So
all the experience across the board. You know, we're bringing as much as we can to you. We want to help you as much as possible. And as we always say, just like we do with our clients, we're going to have fucking fun doing it, lad.
Yeah. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Good time, lad.